French, just to continue with in the French line, have a very lovely expression whenever they write in the Bible that somebody's having a baby. It's actually mettre au monde, but literally to put to the world. And I think that I respect very heavily any woman who has a baby as a male, because I think I really don't think I would be up to the task at all. But there are a large number of similarities, I think, between having a baby and writing a book. Here we are today, putting this book to the world. And it's something which everybody is now able to see. It's sort of like, hello world, I've come out of gestation, I've been brought forth, and now we are able to enjoy seeing this book, this person come to life in people's lives and actually have effect and influence. So I think the French have got a very lovely saying there. I think if there were two words that I would describe of Bernadette, they would be courage and determination. I think it must take a massive amount of courage and determination to write a book. And probably the closest I ever got to writing a book was actually writing a database to run a church in all aspects except finance, and writing all the help menus and all the buttons and all that sort of stuff. It was a huge task, and I think if I had have looked, if I had have known how much work it was going to be, I probably may not possibly have even started. But here's a woman who has taken on this task of writing a book and taking it right through to the very end and to this culmination here today. So yes, I was one of Bernadette's pastors in the early days at Northwest Baptist Church, now known as Westgate Baptist Church. And one of the things we did there was to run a course that we called Network. It was from a church in Chicago, and the purpose of it was to discover one's spiritual gifts and aptitudes and passions and personality, and all sorts of things I found sprang forth out of that course for people, including Bernadette. So when I have talked with people in pastoral ministry, I've identified, especially around middle age, I've said to people, you really need to think in terms of changing gear in your life. You start off in your 20s, you're just getting the basics of performance in what you're doing, but once you've got all that down pat, there is this need to change gear and step up to something bigger and better, the consultancy or the design or whatever it is. And I think this is definitely something that Bernadette has not just done once, but several times. There's always a new challenge for her. I mean, it's okay. So we got her preaching one time. I don't know whether it was more than once, maybe at least once she did. And then, of course, from there she does this public speaking on business and mentoring people. So that was a big change of gear. And then she doesn't want to just reach the people in Kawerau and Portakey in New Zealand, but she wants to reach the world, so she gets a book out, right? So change gear again, change up to third gear, and then she doesn't let any grass grow under her feet. So then it's counselling. I mean, the whole thought of all of these big steps just makes me feel very, very tired. And I've just been discussing with people right now, where on earth do you get your energy from? I think it's something in your DNA or your personality or your calling or something. Quite amazing. Some of you might be aware of the event that happened about 3 weeks ago with Twitter, whereby a college student recommended that public speaking become voluntary instead of mandatory in high school. So if you don't feel like doing a presentation like this, then you don't have to. And because after all, public speaking is the second most, or is it the most greatest fear of anybody. And this tweet went absolutely viral. Everybody's agreeing with us. Now, you know, I think that maybe today's young people are not willing to, pardon me, willing to step out and branch out and feel the fear and do it anyway and do the public speaking. But, you know, I think one thing about Bernadette is she's the opposite to that. She said, right, you know, this is big, this is, I'm fearful of it, but I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to push through that barrier and just go for it. And for that, we admire you hugely. I think this book reminds me of a bit like a sieve, you know, if you to pour your life through this sieve and allow the various paradigms that she's got in that sieve to bring out your things that need changing in your life, that would be really great. She's wanting real change in all of our lives, and the very fact of having empty pages, I think, is quite brilliant, really, because you know you're forced to sort of take some action. She's got this action. She's a woman of action. She wants us to take some action as well. You never know. One of you might write a book. I was talking to a lady. She says, "Yeah, I think I'd like to start by writing a children's book." You know, I've only started by writing my memoirs, but that's only for my kids. So at least maybe I might just get my toe in the water somehow. So I think that we've got this wonderful resource in our hands now, and I'd certainly encourage you to do the writing side of it and not just leave the reading. And one final thought I'd just like to leave you with is that don't be afraid to write in it, really, you know, because sometimes we think, oh, I might lend it to somebody else and I don't want them to see what I've written, and so, oh, I won't write anything and I'll just read it. And I encourage you, really, hey, do the writing, because that's where all the value is going to come out of it. And you know, it was said to me one time, you know, about a Bible. If you've got a lovely Bible, you know, you just bought this new Bible, but you think, oh, it's too nice to write in. You know, somebody once said, look, if your Bible is too nice to write in, throw it away and buy a Bible that you can write in. So I'm saying, right, don't just keep it nice and pristine. Get it written in, and you will find your life changing very considerably. So I'd like to applaud Bernadette hugely for all the way that you've blazed trails for us to follow. Thank you very much.